And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is sjchip, who during her near-death experience saw an angel and other people on the other side. Sarah, thank you for joining me and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you for this opportunity.
Sarah, if you don't mind, let's start on the day you had this experience and go from there.
Okay, so I do want to say thank you for this opportunity because I haven't talked about this very much. So everything that I share today with you guys, I'm going to embody this past timeline I had. I'm going to actually feel this trauma once again. And I will do that because I get to be able to heal another layer of myself and help you guys as well. So again, thank you. And so my NDE was one of the most important and best days of my life. It happened on July 6th, 2017. It's also my son's birthday. So I actually had this death experience when I went into surgery to have a cesarean to deliver my son. I have dealt with some health problems, and so I had a very high risk pregnancy, and my son was very large. He was a 12-pound baby. And so the doctor let me know that, everything should be fine. We're going to go in and do a cesarean, a C-section. And I felt funny about it. 2 days before surgery, I met with I did pre-op and I met with the anesthesiologist, and I let the anesthesiologist know I just have a really, really funny feeling. It was just a gut feeling in my heart and in my stomach. It just felt like I needed to let her know, like, I'm nervous, not about the surgery. I'm nervous about the anesthesia. And I let her know that. So this is actually, it was my third cesarean. So on my first and second cesarean, I had a little bit of problems with the anesthesia. So for this third one, I was very nervous, very scared, and I let them know. But they just, reassured me everything was going to be fine. So when I went in on July 6th, 2017, they prepped me, and I was nervous, but I just prayed. I kept praying. And when I walked back because they make you walk back to the surgery room. I call it the walk of death. It literally, and I don't know if other people have felt that way when they've had surgery, but mind you, I had 2 other surgeries prior and it didn't feel like the walk of death. This literally felt like the walk of death. Like I was shaking more than I've ever shook in my entire life. Yeah, it was cold. Yeah, I had a little, hospital gown on, but this fear was trembling. And so I sat on the table, and the anesthesiologist came in and told me I'm going to get the spinal tap. And the difference between a spinal tap and an epidural is an epidural, they stick the needle in your lower back, and so it numbs you from the waist down. So you're still able to move your upper body. But whenever you go into a cesarean, they do a spinal tap, which numbs you at a higher vertebrae. And so you can't move your arms or anything. You can only move your head. So there I was, only able to move my head. And I felt pretty in and out of consciousness during the surgery. I can hear the nurses talking nonchalantly just about their day and what they're going to be doing. I even felt like the sensations of like the tools they were using. Like I could tell when they were using scissors, when they were sewing, and I couldn't feel the pain, but I felt the pressure and I felt everything they were doing. And then I kind of I would say blacked out, because the next thing I remember is I woke up in the recovery room And when I woke up in the recovery room, I was really, really, really hot and thirsty. And so my nurse came in and I said to her, I need ice chips because I knew they weren't going to let me have water because I just had surgery. So I literally was like, I need ice chips. I need ice chips. And she said, you just got out of surgery. We can't give you anything for like 30 minutes or whatever they said. So I passed back out to sleep or out of consciousness. And when I came back to, I was so hot that I was asking them if I could get naked. I was laying in the bed. My eyes were still closed, but I was like, I need to get naked. I need to get naked. And the only person in there with me was my mom. And I kept telling her I need to get naked. And then so the nurses came in and I asked them, can I please take off my clothes and I need ice? And they were like, no, you can't have any. Again, they told me I couldn't have any. So I went back out of consciousness. The next thing I remember is I looked because I heard screaming, and I looked and my mom was at the door, like holding open the door, and she was like screaming into the hallway. And I don't really know exactly what she was saying, but it was like she was screaming to the staff or something like that. And then there was like a whole bunch of nurses came in and scattered all around me. And I remember hearing my mom say her heart rate is too low. Her heart rate is too low. Um, and I, I faded. I started to fade. And I remember at one point a doctor came in and they had called because my mom came to reassure me at one point. And she said they're sending the head anesthesiologist in here, and I said okay. And he came in. I remember it was a man, and he was really tall. Because I remember opening my eyes because I wanted to know what was happening, and he said that he walked over to me and I said, I need my clothes off. I need to get naked. And he said, no, you're actually really cold. And I said, no, I'm hot. I wasn't comprehending what he was saying. And he was like, no, you're really cold. And what I can describe it now is that, like, if you've ever touched hot water and it's really, really, really hot, it could almost feel cold. Or if you've ever touched something really cold, it could almost feel hot. It's almost like the perception of uh, your feeling and your thermo scale or whatever you want to call it is completely off. And it was because my body had lost homeostasis. And homeostasis, if you guys don't know, is like where your body is a certain temperature and your heart rate is a certain temperature. Basically, your autonomic functions um, are so low. Like I basically was losing the ability to like breathe. My heart rate, like my organs were shutting completely down. Is basically what's happening. So the guy, but at the time I didn't know. So the doctor told me I was losing homeostasis. I mean, the doctor told me that I was cold, that I was actually cold. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, you have hypothermic shock. Then he started like yelling at the nurses. I don't really know exactly what he was saying. And then the nurses were like scattering around and they came back. And I remember I remember they had to give me warm IV fluids because they were trying to warm me up from the inside back out. And so they had given me warm IV fluids. I remember that. And then they got what was called, I know what it's called now, but at the time I didn't know. My mom had told me they put a bear hugger on me. They call it a bear hugger. And what it is it's like a blanket that goes over you, and then they blow it with hot air. So it expands around you like a bubble, but it blows hot air on you. So they were trying to warm me up from the inside and on the outside. But I'm literally like out of consciousness at this point. But But what my mom had told me was that the bear hugger they put on me was broken. So it was blowing cold air on me. So the anesthesiologist had to come back in the room and was like, I guess, yelling at the nurses again because um, I was, they were losing me and they put a cold bear hugger on me. So at this point, I, I passed out, or I just left. I left. I left. And, um, everything got quiet. Everything got peaceful. No one was around me anymore. My mom was gone. The doctors were gone. The nurses were gone. The chaos was gone. It was just all gone. And I was on a beach. I was on the shore. And I was standing on the shore. And I was just looking out. And I was like, man, it's so beautiful. Like, this is so beautiful. And I started to walk towards the water. It was like the water was calling me. It was like I can't even explain it. It was like my soul was being pulled to the water and nothing else mattered except me getting in the water. And I heard my mom yell my name. I heard Sarah, like that. And when I heard that, I knew that she was yelling. I knew it was me that she was, and I knew it was my mom that was yelling for me. But she she got my attention only because it felt like I was a little kid and I was in trouble. Like it was almost like I was a little kid. I was 2 years old about to cross the street in traffic. And my mom was like, Sarah, like that. So it caught my attention, but I didn't look back. I just stopped in my steps. And when I stopped in my steps, that's when I saw a beautiful mother. She was a Caucasian woman with white hair, not white hair, like so blonde that it was almost white, like bleached blonde hair. And she was in the water, like about like between me and hip height of the water. And she had a baby boy with her who was probably about 9 months old. Um, and he was in one of those floats where you put those yellow floats that you put the baby's legs in and they sit in it. And she was just like playing with them, like she was like moving it around. He was having a great time. It was so beautiful. I don't know who they were, but it was just so beautiful. And I was like, oh. And then she didn't look at me, but I felt her call me too. Like I felt her pull me in towards the water. And then I looked on the right side and there was like three men, and they were probably like late 30s, early 40s, Caucasian males, but they were like brown. They all had like dark hair, kind of like Italian looking or something like that. And they were in a circle, just kind of like treading water, but they were talking to each other, just kind of like hanging out in a circle. And I thought, well, this is like a beautiful beach day because they're just hanging out. They were really close. I don't know if they were brothers or if they were friends, but I felt them tell me too. They didn't look at me, but I felt them be like, the water is awesome. Like, come in, you know? So, like I said, I didn't look back when my mom called my name. I just kept walking. I mean, I stopped and I observed the scene, but then I just kept walking. And as I proceeded to walk, I almost touched the water and my mom yelled my name again. And this time it was more fierce and more intense. And when she yelled my name that second time, I I didn't like, it just happened so fast. I just turned around. Like as soon as I turned my face, I was back in the hospital. So I was pissed. that's why you hear like in my voice, like I was pissed that she interrupted. I was mad. I was like, because the first time she called my name, I was like, it stopped me. But then I was like, no, I made my choice. I wanted to continue on to the water. But then when she called my name again, it was like I couldn't. She wouldn't let me because I had to come back, I guess. Sorry. So when I immediately turned around, I was back in the hospital. And my mom was standing right next to me and she was praying over me. She had her hands on me like this and she was praying over me. And I thought she laid on me because when she was praying over me, I saw because I kind of faded out and I saw a shadow come and lay on me. So she was praying on me. A shadow came out and laid on me. And when it laid on me, it felt the most comforting, like, feeling I have ever felt in my life. Like I knew everything was going to be just a-okay. And I wasn't even asking. Like, I wasn't even asking, like, am I going to be okay or nothing? It was just like the shadow figure came and laid on me. And it was like, you know, reassuring me. And at that point, I fell asleep. And when I woke up, the only person that I told was my mom. And my mom said, I couldn't let you go because you had to raise your children. She said, I couldn't let you go. And I didn't think, I don't want to sound like that type of person, but when I was going towards the water, I wasn't thinking about anyone else. The only thing I felt was, I want to be in that feeling of love, that feeling of peace, that feeling of home, that feeling of like nothing else mattered. Like, and I didn't even think like, oh, I have children. That didn't even like hit my head. Oh, I have children. I have to go back. But my mother, who was conscious, she was like, I could not let you go. Like, you have kids, you have to raise. So then I asked her, then I told her, thank you for praying over me and laying on me. And she was like, I didn't lay on you. And I was like, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. She's like, no, I didn't. And I was like, I knew it. It felt so angelic. It felt like a best friend or a guardian angel laid with me. And to this day, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be able to come back because then I was able to like be with my children. I'm thankful to come back because I got to dive deeper into spirituality and who higher source is. And now I can be of service to other people, you know, but I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I get upset because see, people are scared of dying. And really what it is, you should be scared to live. This reality, once you get through, this is more of the hard stuff. This is more of the hard stuff depending on how you live, because I'm not saying I live perfect, but I strive for love and peace. And whenever I was going to cross over, that's what I was overwhelmed with. I was overwhelmed with comfort, love, and peace. And I like to say, though, usually every NDE has a spiritual pre-death. So a lot of people that have had NDEs, it's because they have a bigger purpose and their story needs to be shared. And so I'm just so thankful that you've given me the opportunity to be able to share my story, so that I can gain another level of healing, but also to be able to share this with the collective, with everybody. So thank you so much.
Sarah, thank you for sharing your experience with us. That being that laid on top of you, would you say that was an angel?
I would say it was an angel, but the thing is it just looked like a shadow figure.
Your mom told you she wouldn't let you go. Was she physically screaming out your name in the room while you were on the other side?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
So those people that were there in the lake on the other side, what do you think they were doing there? Just hanging out or what?
It was an ocean. It wasn't a lake, but it was an ocean.
Yes.
And the reason why I just want to say the difference is because it wasn't still standing water. It had an ebb and a flow to it. So the waves were, you know, the element of water. It was moving. Um, what they were doing in the water was enjoying themselves. They were. I can't even tell you how long they've been there, though. They felt like they were part of it. So I felt like they were there forever. And I don't know if they were stuck in a crossover. I don't know, maybe because I didn't get past that area because my mom wouldn't let me go. So I don't know if these are people that maybe people haven't let go of and they're stuck in this. It is. I couldn't even call it. I don't know. Maybe everybody's purgatory is different because this was. If this was purgatory, heaven is got to be even more exquisite because I couldn't even think of anything that is even better than that. So I don't know if they were in waiting, but they had definitely crossed over. They definitely were deceased individuals. I just don't know if there was something beyond the water.
Well, they didn't look unhappy, did they?
No, they did not look unhappy. They looked stuck in the best scenarios of their life.
Do,
That's like how I could describe it.
do you think that that place could have been kind of like a waiting room, even though it's the beach?
It's either an actual like portal, like a door. It almost felt like a door because I knew once my feet hit that water, I couldn't go back. But then I don't know after I get to the water, do I stay there with them and they're like and just enjoy myself or is there something more?
After you got back, did you notice you had any new abilities that you didn't have prior?
Yes. I would say that the abilities that I actually have pretty much had my whole life just became more enhanced and they were the topic of the show. They became the main event. So what I mean by that is ever since I was a child, I always had this relationship with God and I would see demons. I saw demons when I was younger and I remember being afraid, but then I remember like understanding, okay, this is what, I'm gifted. I remember feeling gifted and feeling like I could see things. But what happened is after I started to get older, I started to ignore certain nudges from what I say is the spirit nudging you and telling you things. And I started to ignore it because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And that didn't get me that didn't get me anywhere except pretty much dead. Um so whenever I came back home, it was a constant like regeneration of my body and like starting to feel better and better because I had to take care of my children plus as I was healing and I'm a single mom so I was doing all this by myself and I say by myself but my spirit team is super strong because they came through God, Holy Spirit, Jesus, the Holy Trinity is what I believe in. Also, my ancestors and the angels and galactic family started to come through and give me so many downloads and messages that were helping me heal. And then I started tapping into more healing, more inner healing, healing the inner child. You know, understanding why did I go through this? What was the purpose of that? Really getting purpose from my pain that I went through. And so I started, it started off with like, I started to channel oracle decks. So I have like a love oracle deck. I also have an ancestor and past loved ones deck because I'm so close with those beyond the veil. I was also a deck channeled, um, and I'm very proud of those things, but not because of anything that it does for me, like ego wise. It's because I know that there's a lot of people that go through pain when it comes to love and also with passed over loved ones and ancestors and stuff like that. So I wanted to be able to use these gifts, although at first I was nervous. I was scared because this was a whole new avenue. This wasn't just like normal religion. This was, they talk about our relationship with God. This was it. Like this was like, okay, I mean, there's nothing more real than meeting the other side. So I started doing tarot and my oracle decks and doing readings and healings for people. And the more I heal, the stronger I get, and the more I can help heal other people. So I offer, all kinds of readings, passed over loved one readings. Um, like I said, general readings, love readings, all those things. And then I also, I tap into like sound healing, chakra healing, and then wanting to travel the grid to the chakras of the world to be able to heal these past wounds. I really feel like we're here to heal generational wounds. A lot of the times we suffer pain as human beings just because of everything, um, even in our bloodline. And yes, um, God is there for us, but we have to be able to take action and be able to cultivate these gifts and cultivate the spirit within us. And so, awoken more is like a minute statement. Like I've been doing tarot now for 4 years. I have a channel on YouTube. I also go live sometimes on Instagram. I have a website. It's lighthousedelphi.com. And Delphi is actually the place of the ancient oracles in Greece. So my original, what I would like to call my archetype or my original higher self, my 5D, my five dimensional and above archetype, is who I like to call Mediterranean goddess because I am a goddess and I am Mediterranean. But then I also go by Lighthouse Delphi because I want to be able to be a beacon of light for other people that are struggling with whether it's death, whether it's with love, whatever it is. I just want to be that lighthouse for other people. And like I said, my ancestors really came through, and God really came through, and also, like I said, Galactic Starseed family came through, and I am able to now um, really tap into a whole nother level of who I am. And although it's been scary, even more scary, to grow, to evolve can be more scary. It's been the best thing that has happened to me. And I'm just very grateful.
You mentioned you figured out why you had the NDE. So, was this something planned pre-birth?
That's such a great question. It is such a great question. Um, this is what I believe. I believe that those very stubborn souls sometimes need a big spanking. And I don't mean it as like God was punishing me. I don't mean it like that. What I mean was spirit was trying to get my attention for a long time. And there might have been smaller things that happened first, which is like in tarot called tower moments. We've all experienced them, things that happen in our lives that upheaval us. So I had many tower moments, but I feel like the NDE was like this epiphany of tower moments. It's like, okay, you didn't listen to the slap on the hand, you didn't listen to the spank on the butt, you didn't listen to the slap in the face. Okay, I'm going to have to punch you. And the thing is like I said, it wasn't for a punishment. It was the toughest, gentlest love. I mean, how can something be tough and gentle? I don't know, but I experienced that. And so I believe that it happened for a reason. I believe that I needed that type of wake up call to step into my purpose, because on the other side of my purpose, it was liberation for thousands and thousands of people. So at that point, it wasn't even about me anymore. It was like, okay, wake the up, excuse my language, and let's go, And so I do believe in that case that I had a soul contract with Source Creator to learn what full trust is, what full unconditional love is, and to be able to use my voice and stand in my confidence and deliver the message.
Do you fear death?
No, I don't fear death. Sometimes especially after experiencing this, I ruminate on it a little bit more than I used to, because I used to not think about it. And then when this happened to me, I started to think about it more and ruminate on it more, but not really from a fear aspect, because, like I said, I know that it's becoming one with Source Creator is a very delightful, beautiful, the best experience. I mean, take every happy memory you've had and combine it into one experience, and that's what it feels like. So that's not what to be afraid of. I think what I'm afraid of is like never, like, regret, like never really truly living, never really reaching my full potential, and then like, there's still a little bit of fear that I'm working on with when it comes to separation, because, I love my children, and that's very important to me, but after, like I said, going on the other side, you know, I almost like to think of it as we get too attached to our life experiences sometimes, because when I had went to cross over, I didn't even remember I had kids, you know? So it's definitely it's definitely a strange feeling, to think about death more, but then not really fearing death itself, but not fully fulfilling my purpose.
Well, it's not uncommon for guests who've had an NDE to forget about this life when they're on the other side.
That's the part that gets me a little bit, because, you know, we love our whoever we label. You probably love your wife. I love my children, and that's where I understand that we're all one, because when we all go back to Source Creator, that's why I didn't miss them. How are you going to miss something that is a part of you? Like, I can't miss my hand. My hand's right here. I can't miss something that you're already a part of.
How do you contact your galactic family?
What I would like to say about that is I would not contact your galactic family, because your galactic family contacts you. And that's so funny that you're asking that, because I always see, I used to never even believe in UFOs before the NDE. I didn't believe in aliens or anything like that. Even though I knew, about how huge just this galaxy is, right? But I still didn't believe in that. But afterwards, my galactic star family came to me. So as I got to know myself more, and as I spent time with Source more, they contacted me. And so I wouldn't go. You see people try to go and contact UFOs. And to me, you're probably going to contact something else, because you're leaving yourself vulnerable, and you're kind of being viewed as like, I don't want to be so harsh, but kind of like a knucklehead or something like that. Because number one, you're not having respect, because if they want to contact you, they will, because they will contact you. I like to call the higher dimensions the angelic councils. Okay. When they have a mission for you. And so if your mission entails spiritual work, they're going to contact you. If your mission doesn't include doing spiritual work and all that stuff, you're playing in the wrong pot, and you're probably going to contact something else. So, how do I do it? Like I said, they contacted me, but then I just get, when I say they contact me, I get downloads. Like, one download I wrote down, I could tell you the date if I pulled my notebook, but it was like a few months ago. The Arcturians came to me and was talking about healing the all and talking about compassion and love. The Blue Avians came to me a few weeks ago and was talking to me about standing in your authentic power and singing like a bluebird. So I made a song called Bluebird because I love to express through poetry and through music. So I made a song called Bluebird, and that was basically dedicated for the Blue Avians. I've had several different star systems contact me. I do star seed readings. So if you do want to know kind of like what galactic family team or council that would best resonate with you, I do those types of readings. But what I ask is that, people need to understand that it's not just like, oh, this is cool, this is cool. These are otherworldly beings that either working with the dark or working with the light. And so you have a lot of high level aliens, but some of them have bad intention. And then some of them roll with the angels and have great intention. So you have to really um, understand that it's not a game. And then when I give a starseed reading, usually some it will resonate so much with your core of yourself that you'll be like, I've heard this before, what you're saying. And so then you'll realize, oh, okay, that was my galactic team that was trying to contact me then, but I didn't know. You might have like been driving the car and got an impression of like something, you know, um, of who you are, or like something about love or something like that. And it will resonate with your spirit and make you feel good. But then like if I give you a reading and I'm telling you the same thing, you'll tie it and say, oh, that was my starseed family. That was talking to me. And I just thought maybe it was a thought, or I just thought maybe it was, a hunch or something. And it was really a starseed being.
How do you give the starseed readings? Through tarot cards, or do you just get a download when you're with somebody?
Both. Both. So I have an oracle deck that I use, not tarot deck, but an oracle deck. It's a starseed oracle. And then I just get downloads from spirit. So like I've done galactic readings. Sometimes I do donation based readings on Instagram because my readings are like $70. And so sometimes I'll go and do donation based readings on Instagram. And sometimes I'll have like themed readings. So like one time I went on there and I did galactic starseed readings for the collective for donation based. And yeah, somebody's star family came through so much that it was like specific messages, specific to where the girl was just crying because she was like, there's no way you would even know this. And sometimes I'll do a reading on somebody that they might just want a general reading or something, or a love reading, and galactic family will come through and I have to tell them, hey, star seed family, you know. It even happens when I'm out and about. So like two particular times I've experienced a star being amongst us, like me. And the galactics told me, go tell them. And so I said, okay. So like one girl, she was working in a gas station, and her galactic family would not let me leave until I told her, hey, do you know what a star seed is? And she was like, no. And I said, please, will you look that up? And I couldn't, because she didn't know what it was. I couldn't be like, well, your star family is not, wanting me to leave the store until I tell you that you're a freaking star seed and they're trying to contact you, So that happened once, and then it happened again at a pool. I was a lifeguard. I said, oh my God, your galactic family is like in love with you. Like they were so proud of him and like in love with him that I had to tell him. So it comes in with the cards, but also that's what's so awesome about my readings is I don't need the cards. I use them for guidance and extra visual for everybody else.
How did these people react once you told them?
Great. Um, it was almost like I just like cracked open the door and was like, hey, look at this, and I didn't say much, but they, the girl, she was like, smiled and was super excited. Oh, okay. And then the guy, he was like, my name means beacon or something like that. I can't even remember what his name was, but he was like, my name means beacon. So it just makes sense at what you're saying to me. And I try not to do that a lot because a lot of people um, don't like unsolicited advice, as what you would call it, because it goes the other way too. The Galactics will tell me when somebody is effing up. I won't even know the person. I'll be out in public. We were at the eye doctors, and the angels and Galactics and Source told me that guy right there is a he's no good. If his wife knew what was on his computer, she'd leave him today. And I'm like, okay, so do you want me to tell him this? I'm not telling him this. So I have to use my discernment on who I tell what and things like that. But definitely, if the people that I have given starseed readings or whatever readings, it's resonated with them very deeply.
Sarah, after watching this podcast, people may want to reach out to you and ask you questions. Are you open to that?
Yes, you guys can email me all day if you want to. You can email me or go to my website.
Well, what's your email address and your website?
My email address is sjchip at gmail.com. And my website is lighthousedelphi.com.
What is your necklace of? I've been curious about that.
So this necklace is a lapis lazuli. This is good for communication, and it's also good for throat activation to help clear your throat chakra, and also to clear your authenticity. So if you're going to speak or do something like this, right, where we're communicating back and forth, or just if you have to go speak at, like, say you have to do a speech for college, or you need to do a presentation at work or something like that, this is a great crystal. That's another thing I tapped into after this NDE is the crystal healing, because every crystal holds, because first of all, it's a natural organic material. And so each crystal holds a vibration and a frequency, and they're all used for different things. So this one specifically is for the throat chakra and for your authenticity, as well as like communication. I would recommend also, if you do go to Egypt, right? If you ever take a trip to Egypt, because Egypt is the throat chakra of the world, you got to wear a lapis lazuli there. You got to take this with you because it will upgrade the messages and the communication with the galactics and with the ancestors, like even more strong.
Well, before we finish up, can you leave us with one last positive message?
Never give up. Never give up. All of us go through these human experiences, and there's both beautiful, happy times and very low moments. And that's the beautiful part of this dimension. This third dimension shows us both good times and bad times. And we have to be able to learn to balance it and experience it and be grateful and thankful for it, of what it molds us to become. And so I just say, don't give up. And this isn't the end of your story. Allow yourself to evolve into a more beautiful being. That's what I would have to say.
Sarah, thank you for your message, and thank you for being my guest.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much.
And I appreciate you. Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.